Besties, welcome back to my channel. I am Blonde Child. Alrighty, welcome back to my channel. I am Blonde Child, aka Blondie, also known as other things. Welcome back to my channel. This is a moving vlog. So a lot of you that might follow me on TikTok, you know that I was in the process of moving out of my first apartment, my first experience living by myself. I, was planning on moving directly from my last apartment to another new apartment, bigger than my last one. I was excited about it, but there was some things that happened that kind of like put it on hold, and I had to make other plans because I didn't renew my lease at my previous apartment and I had to be out due to, the lease being up and I didn't renew it. So, I had thought to myself, okay, I really want to move out of Texas. My ultimate goal is to be out of Texas in May, by May, no later than May. And I was just gonna move back in with my mom and stay at, come back home. Aside from everything, living on my own really allowed me to just get to know myself in a good way. I had a peace that I had never had in my life ever, and it was far too valuable to ever not have it again. And even coming back home for the past 3 weeks has been just a lot. And a lot because it's a lot whenever you live by yourself and you're only, dealing with your shit. And you're not really, surrounded by other people and things that other people have going on in their life. So when you come back and you have a lot of things kind of affecting your peace, it's hard. And I'm so lucky. And I'm not even lucky, I'm grateful and blessed to be able to, have been able to come back home even for the time being. And also that God and the universe worked everything out for me to still move into my apartment that I'm about to be moving into. Hey you guys, so it is Sunday, October 3rd, and we're literally, how many days? I'm gonna stand up, is the sun? We are 1 day away from moving into my new apartment. I'm so excited. I'm literally so excited. Hey besties, I am here. I'm in my new apartment. From these last clips that I've shown in this video to now, it's like 2 weeks. I'm 2 weeks in. My Christmas tree is up. I have a new hairstyle, but I'm here. And I guess I'll just make this video a little bit about talking about how I got here and how it almost didn't even go through. It almost didn't come, or it didn't come in the way that I thought it should. But in the grand scheme of things, things always work out. So let's have a little chat about manifesting. Okay, so I'm one of those YouTubers. I don't really ever plan out what I'm gonna say. I just like for things to be natural, and so I'm just gonna talk to y'all like I would talk to my friends, my best friends, because y'all are my best friends. So, okay, if you remember on TikTok, I started talking about moving from my last place and moving into this new luxury apartment. And I had already started the process of the application and everything was approved. Probably in like end of July, I got the approval. But there were some things that happened in my life that kind of made me rethink about if I should move into another place. So I started questioning if the move was the right thing, which is something that I hardly ever do. I always trust that if something works out, then it's meant for me. But what was happening in my life around the time that my lease was being up at my old place, my mom was going through some things in her marriage, and she ended up coming to stay with me and my sister. And she was going to be going through a divorce. Okay, and she didn't really know what she was going to do. She had to leave the house that her and my father own, and I just was going to be there to help my mom. I was going to figure it out and possibly get a place with her, just to be there for her. I felt like I needed to be there for her. And so I kind of just release this apartment. I was like, okay, maybe this is not meant for me. So weeks went by from like knowing that my mom was like out of the house, and she was trying to figure out where she was going, to maybe 2 weeks in the, during that time of trying to figure it out, their court date, their first court hearing for their divorce came, and she was awarded the house. So she, was able to move back into the house. And so when that happened, I'm just like, okay, maybe I just need to move back in with my mom to my parents' house and maybe save up to move to Los Angeles, because that's something that I really want to do, which is why I was like, okay, maybe it's not meant for me to sign another year lease in Houston. So I decided to move in with my mom. Literally the week that my lease was up, she got the ownership of the house, and so I moved everything out of my apartment into my parents' home, into my old room, okay? And I want to talk a little bit about that shit because it was just, So I moved back in, okay? Now I left home because it was a toxic environment. The relationship between me and my father was horrible, still is. We don't really have a relationship right now, and I'm okay with that. It's really not even any like animosity. I am a firm believer in when things run their course, and it can be with friends, it can be with family, whoever. Sometimes relationships are meant for seasons in your life, and they serve purposes. I love my dad. I love some of the things that I learned from him. There are things about him that I don't agree with, that I feel like has been a contributing factor to like my confidence issues. I feel like in a lot of ways he broke me down, which is what I used the past year of living, in my own space to build myself back up and get to know who I was without having that, presence of like me feeling, self-conscious, just like a lot of things. So being that he wasn't in the space, I thought that it was a safe space for me to move back home with my mom. I just was like, I've never, throughout the years of their marriage and the dysfunction of their marriage, had she ever like filed for divorce and actually went through with the process. So I was really believing that, things were about to shift for my family. And regardless of my parents getting a divorce, I thought, I felt that with them being separate, we could find peace, with both of my parents. But that's a long story that I'm getting into. So about 2 weeks into being back at home at my parents' house, my dad, he comes to the house. It was just like a lot of back and forth, between him and my mom, which it has always been that way. And it's so crazy because it all shifted around the week of my dad and my mom's birthday. They both were born like 6 days apart. So he came to the house to pick something up and opened the door. I was in there and it scared me because I was like, what? I hadn't seen him in months. But after that, basically, long story short, as of right now, him and my mom are together. And this isn't any shade to them. I don't know if they'll see this, but this is just my truth. It's my story. At the end of the day, I love both of them regardless. I'm very close with my mom. I don't have a relationship right now with my dad. I don't know if you're looking at this, dad, there's a lot of things that need to be worked out between us. I feel like, he has to be willing to open himself up to just being vulnerable, because I can be vulnerable, something that I had to work through, but that's that. But I had to leave. I realized that through that situation of moving back home, I got to see something that I needed to see, because I held on to the trauma that my mom experienced in her marriage. It was something that I held on to, that I felt hurt by, that I felt, betrayed by. And I was a fierce, firm, advocate for my mom, and I just always wanted the best for her. But I realized that it wasn't my fight, my battle to fight, and it's like sometimes you have to release things and wish the best, but you can't keep subjecting yourself to hurt when you don't have to. I'm an adult. I don't have to be subjected to those things. And I just made the decision. Luckily, the apartment, I was still able to move in, even though I had kind of just let go of the thing, and I hadn't paid it any mind, because I was like, okay, I'm just gonna move back in to help my mom and maybe prepare to move to Los Angeles. But long story short, I'm gonna wrap this. So I realized that in a lot of ways I still limit myself, because regardless of signing this year lease here in Houston, there's no stopping me from, if in 3 months I am able to move to Los Angeles, that I won't be able to do it. There's ways to get out of leases. I just would have to pay to end the lease early if that's what I chose to do. But I kind of just realized I'm releasing myself to the journey. Again, I always say this, but I think it comes in waves and levels. But trusting that where I am right now is where I'm meant to be. So this still ended up working out. It didn't come smoothly as you might want to sometimes, but I think everything happens for a reason, and you have to experience things to get where you're going. Everybody's journey is going to be different, but if I could say one thing about manifesting things into your life and something big, this apartment is beautiful. It feels like real luxury. My last apartment, they marketed it as a luxury apartment, which it was a very nice apartment, but there's a big difference from this one and my previous apartment. This feels like a step up. When I'm in it, the way that I feel rich, I feel luxurious, I feel like that person. Okay, so I feel like that's why I'm in this space, because I am meant to continue to cultivate all of the things that I desire, that I deserve. Okay, so what I did when I manifested this apartment in June of this past year. So I knew my lease was going to be up in September. I set up an appointment to come and see this space. I toured the apartment and I loved it. I fell in love with it. Okay, it was everything that I imagined. In the same way, I told y'all, I love gray color schemes. My fixtures are stainless steel, gray and white marble countertops. It's just my vibe. It's very I didn't even want to bring my old couch, because I really want to make this space like the space that I really want. So I have an empty living room at the moment, but it's all gonna come together how I want. That takes time, but I came and viewed the apartment. I touched the space. I just really put my energy into this space whenever I viewed it, before I even put in the application. So then I'm walking through this space months before moving in, and I'm visualizing myself in it. I'm in this apartment right now recording a YouTube video. So I saw all of the things that I would do in this space. Visualize it. Visualization is the most powerful technique that you could ever do to manifest. I swear, I know people don't believe, but the way it is mind-blowing. I really saw myself. I felt myself. I felt like I deserved it. I felt like I deserved a new space. I felt like I deserved a bigger space, so it's a mixture of visualizing, truly seeing yourself and sensing it and feeling it for yourself, feeling worthy of it, number 2, and just trusting that if it's meant to be, that it'll come into your life. And then releasing. I know there's mixed reviews on that, but for me, what works in my life is that I release. Whenever I set an intention, I release. So for instance, I set this intention in June. Okay, June, July, August. My lease at my last apartment was up in September. So from that point, those points, there was like a phase where I was like, oh my gosh, it didn't come. It didn't happen like I thought it would. Because I had let go. I was like, okay, I guess it's just not meant for me to move in here. I guess it's meant for me to go back home, okay? And so I packed up my apartment, moved in with my mom, and that did not go well. That just wasn't a situation that I felt like I could be in. But I had to experience going back home to see that that is just not something that I need to do, okay? So yeah, I released though. I thought that I wasn't gonna be here, and so I released it, and I didn't get sad. I really didn't get sad. I just was like, okay, I'm just trusting in the universe. So move back home. Within 3 weeks, I'm moving into this space. Okay, so it all happened just how it was supposed to. I moved in here about 2 weeks ago. I've been here for around 2 weeks, and it just feels right. I go to sleep at night. I feel just at peace. And when I moved back home and being back in my old room, it felt so small. It felt almost suffocating. Okay, I felt like I didn't even fit in the space, which I truly didn't. My closet at my parents' home, so small. My clothes didn't even fit, and it was. I had an anxiety attack being back home. I started crying, and I had to take a walk because I felt that overwhelming pressure of like I couldn't breathe, and I felt out of place. So then I went to, the things that bring me peace. I started to meditate. I journaled. I listened to music. Music always centers me. And so I started listening to like movie scores. Okay, that sounds so... But I started to romanticize my life even in shitty moments, okay? And that's something that people don't talk about. So I started listening to Henry Mancini, which is a iconic, legendary movie composer. And the song from Breakfast at Tiffany's, Moon River, but it just felt like love. I don't know. It was like the epitome of love. And so I started listening to it and imagining myself in just beautiful moments, beautiful spaces. And this was when I was at my mom's house for that brief time. So I'm feeling sad because I'm back here and it just doesn't feel right. So I just tried to lift my spirits through those moments, because we have moments in our lives where things just don't work out as we planned it. But we can make plans, and the universe, God, laughs because sometimes it doesn't go the way we want it to go. And you have to find comfort in that, in which I'm learning that. I think it's just an evolution. You learn it as you go. But it all happened how it was supposed to, and I'm in my beautiful apartment, and I'm so grateful to be here. But to wrap it up, I'm in my luxury apartment. I don't work a traditional job. I don't work jobs because I am a job, okay? I manifested this shit as a accumulation of like me setting the tone for what I want in my life. I don't want to work for anybody. I don't want to work for nobody. I'm a full-time content creator. I affirm that to myself. And you know what that does? That brings in deals. That brings in things. I never in a million years. Oh my God, it's crazy. I never would have imagined that I would be able to just be myself, and it provides me with all the things that I dream. Okay, like you can live any life that you choose to, that you see for yourself, that you speak into your life, that you feel that you're worthy of. My generation, we are disassociating with the patriarchy, with capitalism, and I know that I might support capitalism in some ways. I can attest to that, but there's ways that I just will not be a part of it, and that is working for somebody else, okay? So there's a lot of things, that you can do You know, you just have to trust that a way will be made, and a way is always made for me. Always. A way is always made. I had to put on my shades for this. I affirm this with me before we end this video. I can do anything that I want. I can do anything that I want. My life is conducive of all of the beautiful things that I desire. It reflects in my reality. My dreams reflect in my reality. When I look around, I see the dreams in real life, in real time. They surround me, okay? You know, I literally will affirm whatever comes to my mind. You know, I feel like you have to listen to yourself, listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, and really just get in tune with your self, your higher self. Like, for instance, and I'm about to wrap up, I remember having this vision of myself with like long hair. I wish that I was bold enough to show y'all me like 5 years ago. I was a mess. But I wasn't a mess. But I always wanted like really long hair. I just thought hair was like super cool to like grow. But I always went to like really bad barbers and they would mess up my hair until around December 2019. I was like, you know what? I'm not getting a haircut anymore. I'm gonna let my hair grow out. So this is about 2.5 years of growth. But that vision of my higher self, he had like really long hair. And I remember the dreams that I would have, I would be like shaking my hair. I would be shaking my hair. And so it's so weird because I didn't realize I was getting visions of the person that I am today, the person that I am becoming, okay? And I guess I'm a really intuitive person. I never knew that about myself, but I've been awoken to more about me. I see a lot of things more clearly now, and I think it has a lot to do with being in this space, okay? So my camera's about to die, but I'm gonna wrap up. Listen to your intuition, listen to your gut. You can do anything that you put your mind to, okay? I love y'all so much. Thank you for watching. Apartment tour will be posted after this video, but I just wanted to wrap this video up. I love y'all.